For this meeting of the Oakland School Board for Wednesday, October 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m. First up is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Recognition of visitors.
Looks like we got a good crowd today, and it looks like CNN showed up too, so that's nice.
Awards recognition and correspondence.
Have anything written down?
All right. Adjustments to the agenda.
I need 2 adjustments. 8.16 is a grant request. You have the grant request in front of you, so we just need to add the grant request as 8.16 under reports and discussions, and add a 10.2 for grant request.
And is there any public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which contains the minutes of September 2025 as well as the HR report. Hopefully everyone had a chance to take a look at those. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move that we accept the consent agenda.
6. A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes. Next up is the fiscal overview report.
As you guys can see your board report, our general fund went up 1%. It's pretty great because we're happy. Everything seems to be going well so far fiscally this year. Auditors were here. Wow, last week in September. I can't even remember back that far. They did their on-site and we're here pulling through files. Everything went well. Now we just go forward and they finished up all their reports for GASB and ODE reporting. Other than that, we're still sitting pretty great for where we're at in the state. Is there any questions on the general fund or the checks?
Any input, please? Thank you. So we're on to reports and discussions. 8.1 student body reports.
Hi, I'm Kyra. I am the 2025-2026 communications officer. This month I'm going to be starting off with our sports teams and then move on into our clubs and activities. So our Lady Ochre volleyball team has played numerous games in various teams. This year they've had a rocky season. However, they maintain a fighting effort throughout every game. Their most recent win had been on October 7th against Reedsport, which had been a 3-1 set win. As their season winds down, we hope that these ladies have better second half for their league games and as well as leave the court as better players. Football athletes have had a pretty neutral start to the season, including some big wins and some hard losses. With the boys working hard, winning their non-league games, they move on to their first league game of the season, which had been toward the start of the school year, I believe. So their most recent win has been our last home game, I believe it was, or probably.
They lost last game on the road, but yeah.
So our last home game was their most recent win, which is a good one. And then this week we're going into the leading week up to our homecoming game, as well as our senior, our senior night game, which will be one of our last home games as it is senior night. But let's hope the boys win our home game as well as their senior night. Then moving on to cross country, they've had a solid season. For their first meet, we have Caitlin Jimenez in fourth for their second 2-mile varsity and Tristan Rosbach in 13th for the males 2-mile varsity. And then at their most recent meet, Caitlin had in first place for the 5K meter run with a time of 21 minutes and 53 seconds, while Tristan had came in fourth with a time of 20 minutes and 34 seconds. Then Luke Newman had came in eighth with their time of 21 minutes and 36 seconds. While for the rest of our male runners, Oakland had all placed in the top 15, which is pretty good for our cross-country teams. And then this Saturday is the Dan Bard Invitational at Mildred tonight. So come on and cheer our Oakers. And then moving on to clubs and organizations, we have our FFA chapter. They had their first meetings of the year these past 2 months, which they've been discussing future events and having a blast involving all FFA members. But recently, our FFA members have competed in the district soils competition, which was yesterday. We had a blast. Our chapter placed fourth at the district competition out of 8 teams. So we'd say it went pretty well. And then also earlier in the year, we had our entire FFA chapter go to the district, our annual leadership camp, which we went to go develop leadership skills for all of our members who went. And I would say that went pretty successful. But currently, our officers are working on planning fundraisers and implementing them to fundraise for the chapter throughout the year, as well as raising money for a select few to go to nationals in November. But their current fundraiser is the annual pie sale, which has been proved to be successful within the past few years. Next, our National Honor Society chapter has had one meeting to start out. We have our officers selected, and members are looking forward to this exciting year of National Honor Society. And then also touching on the winter sports seasons, Open Mat and Gym has been open to all wrestlers and basketball players, as well as friends to practice their skills for upcoming seasons. Student leadership has been planning homecoming and getting homecoming set up, as we have had our homecoming assembly today, which went successful. It helped increase our student involvement, which is a good thing. And then also, we're planning our monthly activities for throughout the year. And then lastly, major changes within our school has been the cell phone ban, which we kind of conquered this throughout our lunchtime activities. Our student leaders have been arranging and provoking our students to be creative during passing periods and lunch with the tabletop games in the shop. We have chess in Mr. Pat's room, which is the upperclassman English teacher, as well as doing some yard games in our courtyard. And that's it for my report this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Victory Hemphill, and I'm a public relations officer on the leadership team. Life at Oakland Middle School is moving right along. We just had midterms, and there are a ton of other exciting things happening at Oakland Middle School. First, clubs also started last week, and we had over half the student body sign up for a club, which is pretty awesome. We also started the after-school program again this week, and there are a lot of kids who are excited about it. Next, the 5th grade has their annual outdoor school trip coming up next week. We leave next Wednesday. Everybody is really excited about it. Hopefully the weather will be good. Lastly, sports have been going well. The volleyball team has made a lot of growth this season, and they only have 2 more games this season and the B tournament this weekend. We also have a large football team this year with a lot of talented players. Overall, they have had a very successful season. Once the boys are done with football, they will go right into boys basketball season, which starts on the 27th. Hopefully this is our last season in Washington Gym, and girls basketball will start this season in a newly built gym. Now here is my partner.
Hello, my name is Mackenzie Winkle, and I am a treasurer on the leadership team. Leadership has been busy planning some fun stuff for the rest of the quarter. We are all nuts at Oakland Middle School, so for the first quarter of the 2025-2026 school year, leadership has decided to focus on the N in our school activity. Never give up. Leadership would like students to remember to never give up on assignments, so we are doing a competition between sections within a grade level to see who can have the least missing assignments for the second half of the quarter. The winner in each grade level will earn a prize. Leadership would also like to remind everyone to never give up on coming to school and that good attendance matters. So leadership started an attendance competition this week. For the competition, it is 5th and 6th grade against 7th and 8th grade, and whoever has the highest attendance percentage for the next week will get a surprise. We are continuing this competition for the rest of the quarter as well. Well, that's all for now. Thank you for having us. Have a great day.
Thank you. And while you're certainly welcome to stay for the meeting, you're also welcome to take off if you'd like. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. You might just go there.
8.2 is the principal counselor reports. Any questions on those? After that, 8.3 is the custodial and maintenance report. Basket, and then 8.4, the facility report.
Probably quicker if I just put this in your packet, but if I would need it's not because it's not quite as rolled out. Facilities are, we might as well source this to construction report, but it is moving along really well. Let's see, last meeting was September, so we had wrapped up phase 2, got kids in 5-6 hall. We talked about the FRP and all those bathrooms got ruined when they polished the floor. So we got that 2 weekends. They came in 2 Fridays ago and pulled all of the FRP out, pulled the toilet. They only had to pull 2 of the toilets, pulled the FRP, redid all the base molding in there, put the toilets back in, and we're ready to go to school on Monday. So they came in and did it Friday, Saturday. No expense to us. It was them fixing their own errors. So we have a really small punch list left. Got some door close stoppers that were ordered for the 2 new 6th grade classrooms. With the doors, we use the same doors as the locker room. When they open in, they just open out, so they bang into each other. So we got some door stops for them. They should be in anytime as soon as they get them. I'll stick them on there. Put some closures on the bathroom. Got just a small punch list of little things. So it's in good shape. Wooden metal shop got wrapped, all the wrapping done. Basically, everything's done over there. Fencing's up. The only thing we got to do is we're putting up 4, basically, I think it's only 4 posts. Basically, just a roof over where we're putting the sawmill. So that should be done in the next couple of weeks. Got the bid in, already done everything we need. They just got to do it. Same guy who's doing that did the wrapping and stuff. So should be probably within the next week, and that'll be done. Stu's done. The gym, OHS gym, we got everything on phase 1 done. Lobby, again, small punch list in the lobby. Most of those things have already been knocked out. The lobby looks phenomenal. We've got nothing but just a ton of compliments on it. Everything's really good there. So phase 1 is done, except for we did add in kind of it was a late last minute addition, mid-August. We're going to take in the back of the laundry room because we pulled that. We were able, when we took the roof off to fix it, we pulled the boiler out for $14,000. We're able to we're going to cut a 6-foot hole in the back of that laundry room cinder block and put some metal bracing around it. We're going to put a roll-up door in there so we can use that for storage. We have that scissor lift that we've had probably. that we've stored in the light room. Well, it's great that it's stored in there, but it is really makes the light room difficult. We put our chair rack in there, we put a ball cart in there, we put volleyball poles in there, and it's just really difficult to navigate in there. So we have it over here now until we get that done, and then I'll be able to store it in there. So we got that piece to do, and then phase 2 will be done next summer. They'll take the top roof off. Got a tiny bit of work to do on the inside, then they'll put the new roof on. Since the roof's done, they'll redo the lights. Since the light's done, they'll redo the floor. They have a hard date, have to be done by August 1st, so they can finish it, because once the finish is on, it takes a week before you can get on it. So we'll make sure we're done in time for practices, fall practices. Softball field's moving along great. Excavation, I would say, is within a day of being done. They have the home dugout is framed and ready to, or it's not framed, I'm sorry, it has the foundation done and is ready to pour concrete for it. They have to frame up the foundation of the visitors one. That haven't done that yet. It looks like they got the gravel pour. They just got to get some final things for it, and then they've got most of the dirt works done. And then once that's done and they get those forms poured, they will start framing it, get it up, and then it should go pretty quick after that. Backstop is on order. Figured out a way for us to drill those holes in that massive piece of rock over there. We found somebody that said they'll be able to do it with no problem. So we have them scheduled to come in, get the poles in, we'll get the poles set. We're not going to put the netting up until the spring, so it doesn't have no reason to put that in the winter. Just need to use with the weather. So, but we should be good to go on that. So softball field's moving along. Gym, crazy fast. They flew the trusses. We finished that end of last week, and going out today to look, because I hadn't been out since Monday, and they have the trackside half of the roof's completely done. Well, done. It's all of the it's a pan deck roofing, it's called. So they have the first 2 layers on there, and then about maybe a quarter of the other side done. So it's dark in there. 6:05, and it was. I mean, there's they have a light pole in there that you can see. I guess it's dark during the day too. But moving along really fast. They're working on drying it in. The low side, the locker room, bathroom side is already dried in, and there's electrical. It's already doing some rough end. Plumbing is basically done with that part of the rough end on that end. Electrical's in the midst of it. So it's moving great. At this point, we feel like a couple of things we got pushed back on. We're catching up with the drying a little faster than we thought, getting the rough plumbing and rough electrical in there. As far as site works goes, they pulled out the parking lot this week or last week, and then a little bit of this week. They dug it all out, got it hauled off, and then they ended up hauling it off and dumping it about a quarter of a mile from where they're getting gravel to replace it right back in with packed gravel. So we just had them do it as a circle, so it didn't cost us any more to the haul off a quarter or half the price. So we went ahead and did that. They also, looks like today they did the base for the road that goes down beside the building for the fire access down there. We got that done, ready to. So paving's ready to go. Obviously, we're going to hold off on paving for a while, but it's ready to go and have it prepped so that we should have access to the field tomorrow or for Friday night's game. No problem. Should all be good to go. Hopefully, they still haven't dug the pond yet. I was optimistically hoping that they would get that pond dug by the end of this week, so all that equipment could be out of there, but it's not the case. They're still a ways down the road. It's supposed to rain this weekend, so we'll see what that does. But got to dig the pond, and then they also they're doing the pads for the HVAC systems that go in the back of the gym. The same group of us builders is doing that. Once that's it, they should be gone. All their work's going to be done. Then they'll come back and pave. It's time to pave everything. So making great strides there. Right now, it's early October. We're still on track for Christmas. So I haven't really seen anything that's going to have that not happen. Development of the area behind the track. Finally, we're getting close. Final grading is done. They took the grader back. Fencing people showed up on Monday. We had to get a surveyor in on Monday to put new pins in because the old pins are buried under 5 feet of rise. But so we put new pins in, and fence people are out there. Poles are strung all the way around the outside. Those are already buried in concrete and ready to go. The only poles that he hasn't done is between the timing shed and the track shed. Like 5 posts to go in there. And then I'm hoping that they're going to start with putting fence up tomorrow. It'd be nice if they could do it tomorrow, and tomorrow would be great if they finished it, because it would be nice if we get the seed on before it rains this weekend. If not, we'll just have to hold off until it dries out enough to get the tractor back on and seed it. But it's graded. He ran the harrow over like 80% of it, left the edges for the dirt people or for the fence people to work on, but the rest of it's harrowed, ready to be seeded. So we finally can see the end of that project. Good goodness. Walking path still set. I still have not connected with Lori on when we're going to do a walkthrough kind of scheduling thing, but it's supposed to be happening anytime. We have projects out of our control, so we're just and a meeting with her just to say, here's when our pickup time, here's when our drop off time is. Please avoid that. I got the field for sale down there, and it's haven't got a whole lot of the market's just really cold right now, so we haven't got a whole lot of hits on it, which we can just sit there now for now. So other than that, projects are coming along pretty well. We are set for the phase 2 is ready to go on the high school gym. They are ready to hit as soon as they have access to it. In the summer, they'll start tearing the roof off and get going on that. See, that's summer. As of right now, that's the only project we have set for next summer, but depending on how later on year goes, we might have a project on that as well. That's where we're at for facilities.
All right. Superintendent report. You want to handle that one too?
Lynn? I think I talked last time at our meeting about us working through reunification stuff. We have taken some more steps to that. Met with the Oakland Fire Department, met with ESD. I sent an email out earlier this week to our entire staff. So we'll have everybody, all district staff will show up on the 24th. We're going to do a 2-hour reunification walkthrough training for all of our staff. We considered doing a full-blown K-12 district with students as well, but in the end felt like the reward for doing that wasn't worth the cost of the disruption in school, but also the disruption in all of the parents' lives to have to show up at the church and pick them up and do all that. So we're going to have our staff prepped and ready to go. So ESD is going to show that day. Open Fire, Sutherland Police, so we'll have quite a few bodies out there. Some in observatory roles to just advise us afterwards. Others that some ESD people are going to take part so far. So we'll do a walkthrough. I think we're grabbing some people off of our site councils, a few parents and students that are going to come in. So we'll have 20 or 30 students / parents to kind of walk through what reunification looks like. So demonstrate. So we got that set for October 24th. We had the CPI training. I talked about that last time. I think we had the CPI training on the 26th. Had to bring somebody in. A lot of our elementary teachers, and then a few at the middle and a few at the high school trained for restraint training. Obviously, we want to avoid that as best as possible, but happens sometimes. Booster Club auction happened 2 weeks ago, and they made $23,716, which was a pretty decent haul considering this year we had, which happens a lot, had a pretty much a mass turnover in the Booster Club again, as far as officers and people that have ran the auction. And so a lot of newer people doing it, but they did a great job and put together a great event. I would say the thing I was impressed with the most, there was a great turnout of people. It was probably over 100 people there. Good crowd. They had a good selection of things to buy, and they tried some new things, and some of them worked really well. And so it went really well. They did do a frenzy for the softball project because they came in short of what softball was supposed to be kicking into the project. So they did do a frenzy there and came up with $4,300, and the Booster Clubs had already agreed to donate $2,500. So we're getting just under $7,000 towards the project, which is good. We kicked off our PLCs. I did an intro a couple weeks ago, and then this last Friday had our first PLC work where we put in groups, got to give them the outline for the year. This is what we're doing. We work towards focusing on attendance and focusing on raising test scores. Day after tomorrow is a statewide in-service day. We have all of our teachers and instructional assistants are going down to South Umpqua High School. It is hosting down there. It's a ESD countywide. Found out today, because I went to a countywide student meeting today, they were planning for about 200 people, and we have 450 people signed up. So it will be interesting. You might encourage your staff to carpool. It will be a little crowded, but they're eager and excited. And I mentioned this last year. They did it 2 years ago down at Douglas. It was pretty good. Last year they did it at Sutherland. It was okay, but not much attendance. We attended Sutherland and maybe one other district. So we did feedback from all of our staff about it, and then passed that feedback on. We said, what do you like? What didn't you like? What would you change? Would you go back? And I took all that feedback, put it together, and gave it to ESD, and they really used that to build this year's thing. So a lot more, lot less dead time, a lot more opportunities for presentations, and just a much wider variety. So looking forward to it. Hope it's good. Kind of we agreed as an admin team, we give them one more shot at it and see how they did. So to this point, aside from the overcrowding, we'll see how they manage that. It looks like it should be pretty good. Had the Hall of Fame induction last Saturday. That was awesome. That was a massively huge lift. And it was a lot, but it went off really well. Had probably 125 people there. Great crowd. Good group of inductees. Quite a variety. We did we did individuals. We did Sean Hogan Henry, who still holds the 100-yard dash record. She was graduated in the mid-70s. So we had her, Jeff Freeman, athlete in the mid-80s. It was a great athlete, football or wrestling state champ, all state football and baseball as well. And then we did Dan Baird, coach inductee, and then we did two teams. We did the 1964 state championship football team, first championship that Oakland had ever won. And then we also did the spring track state champions, mostly the same people on both of those teams. But so it was really neat. Did an interview style, had a good catered dinner. It went off really well. Good crowd, and it was a great event. So very exciting, and that'll be a natural thing. We'll do that every year now. So nominations will open for next year's class in the next 2 months, and we'll take nominations and make some decisions, and have our selected group in the spring to be able to invite and get set for fall. It was supposed to coincide with homecoming. It was supposed to be last week that Sport failed. We had to move homecoming the next week, so we were able to do that. The other part, last thing I have for you today is just kind of a heads up. It's not really great news. So today after our county student meeting, we had a COSA presentation. They do a off the record traveling meeting. If we don't meet enough, we meet every Friday morning at 8 o'clock, and we have once a month a Tuesday afternoon meeting. And anyway, they go out. I appreciate that they get out of their offices and come out. So they presented today 2 big points that came out that are will be affecting us is the accountability bill that passed in legislature. So holding schools accountable, that's in play and will be, it's supposed to go into, it's supposed to be enacted and start on January 1st. They're still in rules making, in the rules making piece of it, and it's not going well. ODE does not have the capacity to manage it like it is written, which is what happens when the legislature writes a bill and ODE has to manage it, and then we have to do it. So there's definitely some disconnect. So the rulemaking process is going on. It's going to be challenging. They're essentially we're going to be held accountable, which we should be. I don't have any problem with accountability. I don't love the way they're trying to do it, but we need to be held accountable. So it'll be the same 5 targets that we already are managing for our integrated guidance plan, graduation rates, attendance, third grade reading scores, and ninth graders on track for graduation. Those 5 we've already been tracking for 3 years. We have longitudinal growth goals for all those things. They're adding 8th grade math scores, K2 attendance, and then there's going to be a local assessment that you could choose out of a group of 5. And that seems to be the contentious part of what are our groups of 5. And those are local assessments that you have to give 3 times a year, put your goals out. But we're going to be doing a little more testing of our kids. That being said, we already do a lot of assessment K-8 now. So, but the assessment we do, like everyone in the state, and they're all not all different, but lots of different opportunities. If they're not on the list of 5, then we got to change and do something that is on the list of 5. So that's the current type. What's the list of 5 going to look like? What does that mean for us? So so my answer to that is we'll see. It's coming. Rulemaking, so far they've been open to COSA's input, which COSA's our voice. So it is nice that they're at least kind of listening to the schools to this point. Secondly, and this is the worst part of the news. So the funding shortfall is coming. That clip we've talked about is out there. At this point, the state is already projecting to come up short this year because of the big beautiful bill that passed that lowers federal taxes, and our tax base is directly connected to that. So we tax directly out. So if feds drop, we drop. If feds raise, we raise. So they dropped, so we're dropping, and so we're going to have less revenue coming in. They already know that. They're already short. Depends on who you ask, somewhere around $800 million, which sounds like a lot, but $34 billion budget. It's not a ton, but it's still a lot. It's not nothing. So they're working on some things to try and look at what reductions would look like. And hey, they took all their state agencies, tell us what a 2.5% reduction would look like. Tell us what a 5% reduction would look like. State agencies, so not us yet. They haven't touched the state school fund. They're doing general fund things and other things. We're third in line. So the belief in what they said pretty clearly today was we don't really have to worry too much about this year. This year we're going to make it fine, but to be prepared for cuts in next year, which is the second year of the biennium, which is 51. We're getting 51% of what our allotted money is. That is going to be reduced. We don't know how much. We won't know how much for a while, but it's going to come in lower. They also had no idea how the government shutdown at the Fed level is going to affect us. The answer right now is nothing, not in the short term, but a longer term, they don't know. So kind of like probably everything else, air traffic controllers, everyone's going, well, we can probably make a couple weeks or 3 weeks or a month. But if it stretches past a month, that's what's going to happen. Then the other thing that's out there with the, I'll go back to the bill that just passed, the tax reduction at the Fed level. The other thing that it did was it also cut Medicaid, and it cut healthcare, the Obamacare. It restructured that, took away some reductions or reductions in cost. So that cost of that's going to go up, and it also reduced SNAP benefits, which is found out today was news to me. I did not realize that 1 out of every 6 Oregonians qualifies for SNAP benefits. 1 out of every 6 people. That's a lot of people. And so when those reduce, that doesn't have direct effect on the state school funds, except the state will backfill, which is again a set pot of money. So if we're going to get this big of a pot, we're going to get a smaller pot as they're trying to backfill the losses there. Not to mention the secondary and tertiary effects that we get when kids are going hungry, families are unhoused, no health care, that kind of stuff. So none of that was really great news. I'd say we're going to be fine this year. Probably start maybe tightening the belt of skosh this year and prepare for next year, and then we'll see. But the reality is 27, 29 is not going to be good. And that's going to be the next biennium will be ugly. So just kind of prepping for it and starting to get ready for that. So not good news, but I wanted to at least you guys know so you're aware. Any questions?
All right. Moving on to the enrollment report. Like numbers are staying.
Well,
right up there.
there's a positive. So we're not loving the big numbers because they bring a lot of extra headaches, but they are positive. It is a big revenue. It's a big helpful revenue piece, so that's a good thing. So in that sense, it's not terrible. So we're sitting at 684. We're down 5 from the start of the year. I think the reality is probably by January 1st, we'll probably settle in around 660, which is still big.
Yeah, just comparing the drop from last year, it was pretty significant.
Yeah.
The first month.
So,
It's,
So,
yeah, right there.
so yeah, we'll see. We definitely have a few inter-district kids that have already got themselves on contracts. So a lot of it's a natural attrition. We just start the year high and we lose 15 to 20 for various reasons. But we have some inter-district kids that are on contracts as well. So those, assuming they either figure it out or
8.7 board member.
so we had one application come in and we had 2 other people have picked up applications. So you guys have the opportunity or option, but generally speaking, our board is in that case where we only have one applicant and we have others picked up that haven't been turned in. They usually wait a month and give it one more. We don't, being as we don't have any big decisions to make tonight, you guys can do whatever you want. But it only makes sense to me to wait and see if you get the other applications in, just to have a variety. I think the applicant we have is good. Has turned in an application, would be a quality board member. 2 others pick it up would also be fun. So
I'm fine.
I'm good with waiting. Yeah.
and it also helps that our applicant that did pick it up and turned it in couldn't be here tonight because he was hunting, so it worked out. Better.
It's questionable.
His relation makes me a little worried. So, okay, we will let him know, when he gets back. And we will get there. If not, then. All right.
8.8, the CREP grant.
Prep grant's just a reminder, we got it turned in finally. It was very difficult to do, but got it turned in. It's for $1 million. It's for basically battery pack backups for the new gym. Not exactly sure how this works, to be honest with you, because it doesn't make sense to me. We applied for it. We won't know if we get it till January, mid to late January. The gym will be done by then. We'll have expended most of our money on the gym, so kind of hope we'll get it, I guess. We'll kind of play that
So
out.
the new gym gets $3 million.
The new gym gets an additional battery pack to it, so otherwise we gotta come up with $90,000 of additional things to do to it. I do think a couple of the things that we did on it could fit in there, so we'll be okay. We'll manage that when we get to it, but the company that is kind of subcontracts with OTAC that put together our application and we submitted with feels confident that feels like we have that everything is good. We got 5 or 6 letters of support from the community. I mean, they said our application looks great. So regardless, I'm going to take that off and we'll put back on in January. See, hopefully we get it.
All right, 8.9, OHS seismic.
Okay, there's been much debate over this. If you look in your packet, there is, you got a folded page in there. I didn't bring that.
Here.
I'm really, to be honest, I'm not gonna waste a whole lot of your time on this because, yep, I get it. It's there. I can tell you that if you're looking at it like this, bottom dotted line, like in the upper left-hand corner down there at the end of the long haul, that dotted line, all of those short dotted lines, those are, excuse me, foundation footings. They dig out or another footing tied into the current footing. That's what those are all the way around the end of it as well. In the middle, you see that brace wall that comes in, spread footing at the wall. It ends, so they do a footing across there, and then they're putting a shear wall through the attic, and then reinforcing the walls that we have. So they put it, it's called a triangle wall, essentially triangle, because that's what the attic looks like. So they put a solid wall, 2x8 wall with wood on both sides, and they go all the way across, and they bring it down and then it ties into those footings that they're putting underneath there. You see it lined up right there with the bathroom. We're trying to move that so it's over in more in, if you're think high school library, that space between where the folding, where the xylophone, the accordion door. I would have failed these. Where the accordion wall is, we're kind of trying to get it to go right there so we can make that a solid wall and then that becomes a classroom. It's an opportunity to grab back classroom space when you can do that. So that's our hope, is that they can push that down. And they made it sound like that was not going to be a big problem. And then you see the spread footings around the rest of the way, and then there's another wall that you know with the red dots comes. The red dots are all pythons. They're doing another triangle wall in the attic that goes in the short hall, and then they have the wall on the far end that is on this plan and is part of what our application that we put into the state, but that wall was already built. So it was on the high school seismic as well. It was on both plans. It's the same wall. So we don't have to do anything. We got to do a few things to it in the attic, but the wall itself is built. So we're good there. So the other piece, that aside, if you look at the piece in your, the 2 pages in your front and back in your packet, is essentially the bid that they put into that ZCS put to the state with our application. So on the front, just straight up construction costs and some initial. This is the a lot of the tear out that they have to do and some of the re-strengthening, and then in the back has your soft costs as well as some other of the construction stuff. Essentially, it's a $2.5 million grant, and they got 2.499 million is what they think they can do it in. That being said, I didn't make you guys copies of this, but I have from McKinsey Commercial, our contractor, CMGC. They went through and did a bid, and he has it bid at 2 million, just over 2 million, which with the soft cost, which is still right around 2.5 million. But he feels confident that this bid is went very conservative, I guess. So he went like for asbestos, for the abatement in the attic. He put $100,000 down for abatement. We've done 4 other projects that haven't spent $100,000 in abatement yet. So while we don't know, because we don't know what we're going to get into when we get up there and start abating and putting our walls in, we feel that is well covered in there. And then there's some other things in there again, and then that wall that has already been built. So essentially, based on our conversation that we had, our engineer and our architects and our construction people are all saying, we can do this project for $2.5 million. It's a no frills project. We'll get a wall in the library that should get put in because we got to have a new brace wall anyway. They'll do a little bit of flooring. The bulk of the work is in the attic. They're taking out the chimney. We should be able to get the 2 boilers out without having to abate them because the hole in the roof's going to be so big from the chimney. So we should be able to latch onto that and get it out the hole in the roof. We get a brand new roof out of it, done right this time, so it will all be sheeted and then put in. So generally speaking, they say that we can do it. Again, no frills, which we did get spoiled down here with the frills that we got. So that's not the norm. This truly is a seismic rehab, that we are seismically rehabbing our building, just not getting a lot of frilly stuff. We're not getting new floors, new lights, new drop ceilings, so most likely.
So on this, they're not considering the issues with the floor as part of.
They are. We had a geotech come in, and all those reports came back and said that is not a structural problem. So we can't address that as part of the seismic. And they believe that the seismically rehabilitating it could alleviate our floor problems. but they're not guaranteeing it, but they are clear in, and they had a second geotech come in and essentially got a second opinion, and they said the same thing. They can't tell us why it's happening, but they do not believe it has to do with the seismic stability of the building. So it won't address the floor issues that we're having, but yeah, it won't.
You just be open and all.
Kind of. I don't agree 100% with Brent, the superintendent that is kind of running all of our jobs through McKinsey, but he's of the opinion that the problem is that essentially the whole front of the high school is sliding off the hill, that it's slowly starting to settle, and that's why it's doing it. Okay, that makes sense, but if that was truly the case, it seems like there'd be more cracks in the walls. There would be less of a straight line down front. We'd see more cracks. There's no cracking in the sheetrock. There's no cracking in that. So the excuse they've given us of there's water flowing underneath it, and the fill that they used in the hallway was bad fill. And so the water percolates up, it swells, it pushes the floor up, and then it dries and stays that way. So then when more water comes in, dries, it swells it, and it just keeps pushing it. So every time that we fixed it, we cut a big trench in the middle, cut that dirt down some, and then re-pour it, and it's good for 5 to 7 years, sometimes 10. So, so again, as I said at our last meeting, you guys are welcome to do whatever you want. It is their opinion, and I have moved to their side. It's not giving the money back is not a wise choice. I mean, we can do that, and that is well within our power. Do it. We probably have 20 grand, 25 grand in costs, exploratory costs, and we got to pay ZCS for the work they've done here. But generally, so we could get out from under it for about 25 grand and give it back. But while they say it doesn't, it does and would affect us. We still have 2 more seismic grants we're trying to get, putting those apps in. So, and we need them for the cafeteria, and we need them for the elementary school. That needs a new roof bad. And so that's our best way to get it. So I'm of the opinion that we go and I mean, it's going to be, I'm not going to say it's not a little sketch, but it's a lot less sketch than I initially felt after talking through them. I had a separate, and I talked to each of these guys separately. We talked in a big group, and then I went back to them individually and really pushed them and grilled them on it. While I couldn't get any of them to commit their companies to pay the overage of anything that went over the 2.5, they all assured me one-on-one that they believed it. So, and really, Toby felt like his bid was, it's a bid that plans for some unexpected things.
So I'm wondering too, if we could talk to them, maybe get to add anything to it, but if there was to actually go under, if they're pouring another footing to attach, is there any way to go in and put like drainages in?
Well, no, because the problem is it sits on, it's literally sitting on a huge piece of shale, or huge blue, or whatever you want to call that, blue rock. I'm a geologist, so I don't know, but the really hard blue stuff is what it's sitting on, and it's just one big sheet. So the footings are only like this, they're this deep, and they're not even L footings or J footings. That's it. You got about a 12 to 14 inch footing that's maybe 5 inches, maybe. That's it. Goes the length of the outside wall, the length of the 2 hallway walls, and the length of the outside wall. And that's it. The rest is just fill in there. And the fill is what's causing us the trouble. And so water comes in and goes just underneath the footing and runs along that shale and then down the hill. It's a huge runoff. So
Coming from the upper side of the school?
they think, I mean, I'm sure it's tied to that spring we have behind the art room that we've tried to fix 3 times. And it's getting worse. I mean, I don't know. That's 2 summers ago, I think we did that, or 3 summers ago. Patty was still here. And so when we repaved that piece up by the greenhouse, we had them dig that out, dug down like 12 feet, put in a huge drain, grab that spring, dug in the spring that we knew was coming, and we put it all into that drain hole right there, and so it's all gonna drain out. It's bubbled right back up in a little bit of a different place, but basically the same place, and it's up the concrete or the blacktop, and so it's all that water. Essentially, we feel like we're at the top of the hill, but we're not. There's still places a little higher than us, and so it all sweeps down that rock. It's not ideal.
French drain around it wouldn't work.
Well, we can't get it because we can't get it in low enough. The French drain is, you'd have to get the French drain below the rock, essentially the shale. It's just, it comes down and it's running on that shale. At least that's what they say.
So tentatively, so if they put in another footing, they're gonna be digging down, right?
But they'll only dig to that, the same level. The new footing will be exactly like the other footing. They're essentially just widening it and making it more solid and then burying them together. And it, we wouldn't want them to dig into that blue rock. Trust me, the cost of them having to dig into that blue rock wasn't worth it. I mean, it's worth it because we had to have it done to get stormwater and sewer and all the stuff out of the gym. Otherwise, the gym might stink. So yeah, and that's the best I got. Obviously, I'm sure you can read between the lines. My recommendation is, I don't love it, but I think we got to go forward. I feel more confident than I did that we can get it done. The other piece, and this is really, we haven't really pushed forward. McKinsey's pushing to do it all next summer. They believe they can do the entire project next summer if we allow them to essentially do a swing shift in the spring, and work a 4 to 10 or whatever they care what the shift is, but whatever, swing shift after kids are gone, essentially get in it, and they can build those triangle walls in the attic. They can build them in the attic instead of having to worry about it. So they can do that for the month or two before, get them all built, get them ready to put in place. And then as soon as school's out, strip the roof off, get those up, get all their blocking in, all their things in, and they feel like they can do it all next summer.
On top of the high school,
What's that?
on top of the gym.
What do you mean on top? Yeah, but I mean, yes.
The gym's pretty minimal.
Yeah, but the gym is really gonna be mostly subbed out. I mean, the roof's gonna be evergreen roofing, the lights are gonna be the electrician, and then the floor is Branson. So McKinsey's just overseeing that job then. We have workers to do there, because most, the 80% of the seismic stuff was done on that. So
You did mention to me, and I know that they did go through the attic pretty extensively.
we did, when they crawled that, took a bunch of pictures. They feel like there's plenty of space in there for them to build the triangle walls, so they could work up there in a swing shift. We wouldn't notice anything really during the day. We shouldn't say wouldn't, because who knows, but we shouldn't. They'll just they'll cut a hole in the ceiling to get all their materials in and out, and then they'll just patch it each day or whatever, to keep stuff out of there. And then as soon as school's out and kids are gone, with the chimney gone, get the whole roof ripped off. So it's a big roof. So when they do rip the roof off, they gotta be pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's possible. And that would be a mixed bag, of positive and negative. I would
Very
say.
original.
So, but yeah. So I understand your guys' trepidation, and I share it with you, but I mean, I feel like in the big scheme of things.
And I was definitely an opponent. But I mean, when you really get it down to what the grants are intended for, and like you said, we've gotten a lot of good things out of these, but I think if it's just the seismic part and they can really get it done for that, then I think it's to our advantage looking down the road to the next couple projects too.
And I guess I'd also add this piece in there. And I mean, I say this right after I say, we could be in for a financial hit, but it would be the time, because the way that we have looked pretty extensively at the bathrooms at the high school, and our golden plan would have been to be able to split it into two and then take the boilers out and change that boiler room into a unisex bathroom, just like it's in the lobby. And take those two bathrooms that are in the long hall and turn them into office space. But that's not going to work because we're not going to have the money to do that. But I do think something we could look at is We'll look at some design in those bathrooms to try and get them unisex, maybe even do something like a bump out into the, through the girls' bathroom into the courtyard and make that kind of a unisex. Look at some ideas where we do as a district kick in some money. And while everything's torn up and they're on site, there's no mobilization fees are already here. We could get a acceptable price and had the money to do it, it would be a good time to do it. So that would be something that we might be able to add in there. That's a possibility. Because we do need to, we got to do something to address the bathrooms down there because they're not good. But they're small. That's the problem. There's just not a lot of small. We could theoretically, because moving an interior wall that none of those walls are load bearing on the backside. So we could theoretically take 5 feet out of those 2 classrooms to widen them out a little bit, and do some stuff. But anytime, I mean, I can tell you from our experience down when you start tearing walls out, it gets sketched pretty quick. So, but that'll all be kind of in planning piece. And if we are going to choose to go forward, then we'll start doing a little bit more pre-construction stuff and start making our plans for what our schedule looks like. We're going to do 2 phases, just one. But good thing about doing it in 1 phase, one of the good things is it would be done. And then the next summer when they do hopefully, I think we will, but hopefully we continue to get them. They should be able to get the cafeteria possibly knocked out in 1 summer as well. Maybe 2, but possibly 1.
Get back on track.
What's that?
Get them back on track.
Yeah.
Get them done.
That's the hope. So. But I didn't put it on as an action item because I didn't feel like we needed to, I mean, really, unless we were going to give it back, then it's an action item. If we feel like we're confident enough to go forward, then I feel like discussion managed it. Because we've already accepted the grant.
I'm fine.
Is our consensus right now would be,
I consensus fine. I mean, as long as you get as long as you're fine going forward, we're not changing anything. That's why I didn't put it as an action.
Hesitant, but
yeah, I'm the same way, but I'm okay.
I mean, I know that it's basically for the reasons we got it is what we're gonna get fixed.
And we're getting a new roof out of
We
it.
do get a new.
Minus anything else, we're getting a new, probably $500,000 roof that's not costing the city. So that in itself is, and we just got a, I don't know, $350,000 roof 4 years ago that they've been back to repair leaks on at least 10 times. And so we're going to get it done right. And the other piece, when they were walking the attic, at least, because we went to mini splits. So if you ever looked at the high school, like if you're standing outside the band room and look at the back side of the roof, there's about 200 protrusions coming out of there. At least half of those will go away. We'll be able to take those out because they're part of an old abandoned HVAC system. We're not going to take the other bigger chunks out. We're not going to mess with that, but we'll get those protrusions out. So which would help them in the long term.
Yeah, all right. 8.10, advocates for school trust lands.
So this is that lawsuit that and I'm not regretting sticking our name on there, but so it's a lawsuit that they got going against the state. This group put together with the state against the state to fund education and a quality education model, which they've never done, even though they passed it into law. They've never done it. But it's bigger about how they're managing the federal forest fees and how they manage the LA forest sale and all of those things. So I put this in here for 2 reasons. One, just to give you an update. I hadn't talked to you about it in a while. And Dave Sullivan, who I guess he's not on the piece that I gave you, but anyway, Dave Sullivan's kind of running the operation as a retired lawyer. He's not in the court. He's not the actual attorneys, but he's running it. He's the one that keeps in touch with me all the time. So he basically wanted to alert me that they had a massive victory. Essentially, the state's been saying, we can do whatever we want. Yes, that's how you interpret the Constitution. We interpret it this way. We can do what we want. And the court said, finally, no, you can't. You have to answer this lawsuit to why you're doing what you're doing and how you're doing what you're doing. Huge win for this side of it. So they did that. So right after that, it's like, okay, we're on now. We're going to court. And so then, like within a week, getting that victory, our lead counsel withdrew. And she withdrew because, according to Dave, they had philosophical differences about what the best approach to win the case was. Not that she didn't bail because it was a loser, just bailed because she felt like it was a different, that philosophically they wanted to go this way and the rest of the team wanted to go another way. So what I gave you in there is the motion that they filed to withdraw the counsel for our side, and they're in the working of hiring a new one. They also put out a motion to ask for essentially a continuance through the end of the year, through December 31st, so they can find new counsel, and they got that granted to them. So they're good to go. They're looking for new lawyers, and they're going to keep fighting. They feel a lot more confident now that it's the first time it's really happened that the state hasn't been able to just say, yeah, we can interpret it how we want. And so they are confident that things are going to move forward. Send me an email that I just got this afternoon. So the most important development remains our recent major success. The court has granted us an extension until December 31st to secure new legal counsel for the plaintiff group. Gives us a generous and appropriate time frame to recruit a first-rate legal team to represent all of us, including your districts. It's also crucial to remember the strong foundation we've already built. In early rulings, the court affirmed our standing and jurisdiction. It rejected the state's initial attempts to dismiss our core 2024 claims on the basis of sovereign immunity. So they said, for the state, we do what we want. We have successfully navigated the most difficult preliminary stages of this litigation. So now they're in. A few motions in there from the defense to try and pass it off, but they said those are minor, nothing, just procedural stuff. So essentially, they wait until December 31st. Hopefully, they'll have a new counsel hired by then, and then that trial will, or the trial will take place. So things will get moving again. And then, as a PS, Dave is so thankful that you guys are on board. He's going to come to the November meeting to answer any questions you guys might have. And I promise you, if I had conversations with him, he will have a story for you to start with. I'll be sure.
Yes, it's boring.
So maybe think about your questions beforehand, and maybe he'll answer them in his presentation. But it is coming, so
Okay.
he wants to be here, and I didn't feel like I could tell him no. So he's coming to you guys at the November meeting. He wanted to come to this meeting, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna book this meeting, so let's push the November.
All right.
Be a good intro for our new board member.
8.14, Division 22.
So our yearly Division 22 standards, I attached them in the, there. We are in compliance with all of them. There's a couple new ones, a couple of ones have changed, a couple of them are coming, but aren't for another year or two. But we're in compliance with everything. As I think I stated last year, we were out of compliance. I mean, technically, we probably could have said we were still in compliance, but we were out of compliance with our comprehensive school counseling program. We since spent last year working on it. I rated that with you guys. I did some ODE meetings and we talked through those things. So at this point, I'm ready to, if you guys don't have any questions, we went through. I marked yeses. I did not give you evidence on every one of how we're in compliance, but basically I would say the policy book shows we're in compliance with all of them. Our policy book, our handbooks, and our practices. So we're in compliance with everything. So we're in good shape. Even the new ones, most of which we're already doing. We are well ahead of the curve because we've been doing our site council. Our three principals got their site council going in their buildings last year. So we do site council meets 3 times a year, fall, winter, and spring. In our winter meeting, all 3 councils come together and we do that as our equity talk through the equity issues that we need to look at. We're ahead of the game there. So in general, we are in compliance in all things that we need to be in compliance with.
8.15 OSBA Fall Regional Meeting, October 21st, 6 p.m. at the ESD.
So that, just a reminder, when I was at ESD today, I asked Annalicia, she was checking, I had sent that email to you guys about, hey, would you be interested in a training before that? She confirmed, yes, there's a training before that. She could not confirm exactly what time it was. She was going to check with Cindy, the lady that know the answer was out today. She said she thought it would be 5. It could be as early as 4:30, but probably 5. I will shoot you an email tomorrow that tells you when it is. And if it's at 4:30 or it's at 5, and that's, that's going to be tight for you getting off work, it's okay if you get there when you get there. We'll have a table for you set. So it is the 21st. Dinner is at 6. They're going to do the little training beforehand. Also, I think she didn't tell me, she said, I don't know that they determined exactly what they were focusing on, but one of the things they were doing is that, I think, some kind of a presentation of that online training that you guys have to do. Theirs, which maybe if you're there, it checks out the training, so you don't have to do it all. I don't know that. That's what she was thinking. So you might be out the hook there. But it could be as early as 4:30 or most likely 5, and I will send that to you in email as soon as she tells me tomorrow.
All right. 8.16 grant requests.
The grant request in front of you comes from our Ms. Walker Clark, our homeless McKinney Vento liaison. Essentially, it's a grant through ODE. There's a lady working at ESD right now that they've hired as kind of their newish homeless liaison. She has access to this grant. She'll write the grant for us. It's $10,000. That's a $10,000 grant for 3 years. You get the $10,000 all 3 years. Part of that grant pay is a flow through to her for doing the work to do it. It's like, it is a portion of it, whatever it is. But the rest of it is ours to help our homeless students with less strings attached. Right now, it's kind of, so we do a lot of different things for our kids that are experiencing homelessness, whether it's buying them gas cards, giving them some motel vouchers, whatever. Sometimes we fix their car, sometimes there's not money for that, so we pass the hat around our staff and pay their electric bill for the month or whatever we can do. But it's $10,000 grant for 3 years that essentially allows us to supplement what we're already doing with them and gives us a little bit less stringency on ways that we can help with that. Or we can now be more creative with this money to help families out. So that's a 3-year grant. The only obligation is we got to meet the grant reporting requirements, which is normal, but there's no cost to us. Their idea is, their hope would be at the end of 3 years that we would then find a way to get it in our budget and start funding that $10,000 into a program to be able to do the same thing with. But I'd say the same thing as I'm speaking to our auditors, going to be more strings attached to it that way as well. So this grant at least gives us 3 years of flexibility.
Assume there's no public comment on the agenda item this evening. We'll right through that one. And to action items. 10.1, Division 22. You may remember that from recent discussion. Do I have a motion to approve? You just approve it as accept.
Make a motion to accept Division 22.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That's this. And 10.2, the grant request that we just talked about. Anyone would like to make a
Make a
motion?
motion that we accept or approve the 3-year grant of the support McKinney Vento program. Education at homes, children and youth.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Let's vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, Passes. For action items. Upcoming meeting input.
Well, because you guys have gotten spoiled for too long, next month, again, going back to indoctrinating the new board member, next month I will have a massively huge stack of policies for you.
Wait for that show.
Yeah, yes.
Love it. And not only a massive stack, I mean, I just skimmed through it. I haven't started doing my part yet. But some of
That's
it,
good.
like 10-page, the longest, some of the longest ones, 10-page, 12-page policies and
Oh,
long ARs and some that we just revisited. So.
So this should be pretty easy then?
Sure. Yes. Yes, I hope so. Anyways, just wanted to give you a heads up when you get your packet. So we will try, we might try and get that. Hypothetically, we might try and get you your policies in your hand a little bit sooner. I gotta finish my part first, which is gonna take a minute. But you're gonna have a hard time, if we don't give them to you till Friday, you're gonna have a hard time reading through them before Wednesday. So I can't guarantee you that I'll get them too much in advance, but I'll try.
For the good of the order.
Convention coming up? Are you, is you're going? I'm going. Are you able to go or what's that?
Next one.
You can't, right?
I am going.
You're going? Okay.
I am,
Next one.
yes, I am going. I know that. I'm not, I think out of the last, I think, I mean, it was 2 years ago was the last time I went, and I'll probably leave an opening to see where we're at in football. If we play on Friday night, I probably won't make the game. I'll stay at the conference. If it's Saturday afternoon, try.
That's kind of what. I'm kind of,
And we'll-
Yeah.
That's still a long ways away, and you got to qualify and so forth, but I'll leave that up in the air, but yes, I'm gonna be there. I'd say looking forward to it. That's my- I mean, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys. But other than that,
Is that bring our own lunches?
The grant made me think about, a lot of people probably don't realize, we have a council member for city council who serves as a homeless liaison for the city,
okay,
as a volunteer. And so we do have a little pantry down by the bottle drop downtown. If anyone ever feels like they want to put anything in there, just to let you know that it's there. And then she's also looking for coats and hats and gloves for this time of year. If anything, you have anything that you're rid of, it doesn't have to be new, just,
well, I hate to speak for it, I wouldn't speak, or so don't tell me out that I did, but probably could take her into the clothes closet and let her grab her anything that she wanted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're trying to empty that out. What's that? Oh, it's overflowed. And then we had the break-ins last month, and so we got them everything bolted, closed, plywood down, but it really needs to empty. When the gym's done, we put it for sale. So really, it's got to empty anyway. So, and I know that Betty and her sister aren't going to want to take all of that stuff. So I would say maybe kick that around to Betty.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
definitely.
I will do that.
I would think she would be fine with going in though, and it's going to a good place. And there's variety of sizes and stuff.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, and we have new city park bathrooms. Anyone saw the giant crane last Tuesday hovering over the city of Oakland? Yeah,
And were the other ones? Because there were
during the big Snowmageddon, it separated that building from the back wall of the fire department, and it was not repairable. So our good friends at FEMA.
finally got down.
Yeah. No, here we are. Yeah.
6 years later.
That's about how most of it works. So,
Hey, at least they did it. That's
Yeah.
honest.
finally not.
I got around to it.
Yeah.
Too bad we couldn't have coincided the crane with up here and split the
Yeah.
cost
I know.
of it, because those
I
things
know.
are not cheap.
No, they had to actually get partly get a grant.
To get
Pay
the
for the
crane.
crane.
Oh my gosh.
FEMA had to get a grant from.
No, we had to get a grant.
Oh, okay.
We had.
Oh, they just, here's your bathroom, figure out.
Well, people would give you 75%. They never pay the whole thing, so yeah, there's always something there. And the only other thing I have is, that's all I have. Anything else? All right, let's adjourn this.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.